My name is Morse Clary, and I am an artist. I've always been fascinated by, I don't know, how nature works, how things work. Not, as it turns out, as a scientist, but just the beauty of the interrelationship of forms and growth and mutation and all those things are important concepts. And I use them creatively, but not the way a scientist would, simply as an observer. And nature, in a way, it teaches me and has taught me everything I know. You know, a book is a wonderful tactile kind of form. The one I'm working on here is, you know, it has elegant curves, and I always make them as if they were being held open and being read that way. And I've always loved books, not partially for what they contain, certainly for what they contain, but just as forms in themselves. You know, there's something that reveals something. It's closed, and you open it, and it reveals something. There's something magical about that. I kind of happened on a form that I could use as text, and that people could read visually and tactily like you would read words. I've had people approach me and say, but your books don't say anything. How can it be a book if it doesn't say anything? And I had this, you know, wonderful conversation about languages. Said, well, it's in a language you don't understand. If you could accept the fact that, you know, my language is a visual and tactile one, and that sometimes these real objects appear, that's part of the language, and accepted that as something that could convey meaning to you, you know, and loosen up a little bit. Not all books need to contain words, you know. My words are objects and colors and textures and forms. That can be a language as well. It's not as precise, of course, but you know, if you stretch a little bit and accept that, you can read this language. It's doable. But I don't know. I'm always charmed by, you know, people's reaction. I'm glad that they like to touch my work, because that's, you know, that's my basic way of knowing things, is with my hands, I think. I've made books mostly out of wood, because I love wood. It's I suppose, my material of choice. And a lot of people love wood because we know a lot about it. It's part of our culture. We have wooden spoons that we stir our food with. We, you know, sit on wooden chairs. We sleep in wooden beds. And it's one of the few materials that was alive at one time, like we are. And I think there is a sense of that. It's also warm to the touch. You know, because it's a series of cells, it takes on whatever heat is available and radiates that back to us when we touch it. Unlike metal, which is, you know, kind of cold and hard, wood, you know, is warm. It also has a variety of beautiful colors. The only way we see things is with light, you know, reflecting from the surfaces. And wood has elegant little grain references, annual rings, one inside the other, a bundle of cylinders, so that when it's cut at a curve and those things are exposed, they make beautiful linear forms that are only partly predictable, as it turns out. Anyway, I love wood, and for all those reasons and more, I suppose. They also look good in contrast to each other, the different colors and qualities of wood. If you were trying to figure out at the very beginning how to make symbols for language, for sounds, and you were going to use 3 sticks, how many different ways could you configure those 3 sticks where they looked appealing? And if you were experimenting, trying to see how many ways you could do that, and it's like finding the right solution for a sound, which is like the invention of language. And so I set up a problem where I tried to do that, tried to play that game. I'm a primitive speaker. There's no language in our clan, and one of these will represent and I'm looking for one that really looks right. How many different ways can I reconfigure three lines, basically, that do that? Well, the symbol for pi, the mathematical sign pi, is made up of 3 things too. I did one that was called pi play, only in each case they were configured the same way, but they rotated as if they were doing cartwheels or something. I think one of them was called dancing pi, and one of them was called pi play. I don't know, the titles are supposed to help people to understand where I started, my creative process, but it doesn't mean that that's exactly what people will see or what they'll end up believing. Craftsmanship is the care that one takes with the material, and it should demonstrate a love for that material. Without the kind of refinement and finish, I don't think my work would have that much appeal to people. Now certainly there are opportunities for someone to overdo it, I guess, and only do the things that you can craft. So you do have to stretch your ability and reach out and try things, and sometimes not succeed so that you can figure out how to do it the next time. You can get too hung up on it, but I don't know, I think craftsmanship is everything. And what people react to are the things that you give them to react to. And if you want to touch it and stroke it, it's because somebody presented it to you in a way that makes you want to do that. That, if a curve is elegant, it's elegant because somebody made it fluid and made it consistent and made you want to reach out and touch it. That's what appeals to people, We like to see elegance in the use of materials, and that's all craftsmanship is doing one's best with the materials presented to them.